Good morning, everyone at the DILT. This is Denise Green joining you remotely. I'd like to thank everyone for this opportunity to participate and share what our team put together for Professional Learning Day around our literacy share. We decided to approach this as a vertical slice protocol. So, what we wanted to do is think about literacy from the student perspective. We wanted to consider the purposes of the texts that we're using in the classroom, and we wanted to think about the connections between the content goals and the texts we were using as teachers. So, our setup and process was to ask our teachers for two samples of texts that were used during random weeks in the first semester. We picked a week in September and a week in November, asked them to provide us the link to the text that they used during that week, just a single sample of whatever they preferred, along with the literacy purpose and the content goal that this text was used for. After we gathered all this information, our ILT, held down by Denise Dix and Brittany Reinerson, created sample schedules for each content area PLC to experience text from a given day. So on Professional Learning Day, our content teams were given 5 different samples. When they approached the text, they first were asked to preview the text. And they started with a piece from their own content area. That was important for us because we wanted them to start from a place of strength with something they were familiar with. Initially, they looked at the text and just tried to brainstorm what the purpose of the text and what the likely content goal was that this text was used for. Then, after reviewing the text, they actually saw what the teacher had as an intended purpose and the content goal. This generated some discussion for them to think about how text could be used differently, how they were actually used, and what all of the connections were. From that point, they continued this process across the day, having samples from all of the other areas and electives to consider, using that same process of first reviewing the text, kind of predicting what the content goal and purpose was, and then seeing what the actual use instructionally in the classroom was. We found that this generated a lot of rich conversation among our teachers. The share out that I remember most from that day was our teachers feeling a level of fatigue from all of the text that our students at MCAT were experiencing. And they said quite a few times, if this is actually what we have our kids doing, like, wow, what an impressive amount and variety of texts. I always tried to remind the teachers from this perspective as well that it was so important, especially in our gradual release of responsibility model, that our students are the ones that are going home tired with their brains working to access these different pieces. But we also did talk a lot about the necessary scaffolding and supports that were needed to access the texts across the day as well. I'm going to turn it over now to Denise and Brittany and let them share out other pieces that were discussed during the day. Thanks again. Have a great day.